A very good evening to you. Welcome to the Thursday edition of the show. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Well, as usual, there's a lot to talk about on the show tonight. As we speak, Europa League matches currently going on. Some have been concluded already. We'll take a look at the ones involving Nigerians and well, Africans in the Europa League. 24 matches, of course, we can't cover everything, but we'll do our best to take a look at some of the selected ones and try to use that to track our Super Eagles players. We'll also be talking about what's happening here on the domestic scene, talking about the big one. That's talking about the 2022 AFCON qualifier Nigeria against Sierra Leone. What's going to happen? Will the fans be allowed? We'll tell you the decision that has been taken with regards to that. We'll also attempt to review what went down last night in the UEFA Champions League. We'll take a look at it, take a look at the results and the implication for some of the teams. That's the outlook of the show today. We'll also see if we can touch up on football legend, global icon, Diego Maradona. We'll see if we have time to talk about him on the show. We hear is recovering well after having that brain surgery. There was a scare at some point. The world thought we were going to lose him, but it's fine. So we'll be talking about that on the show as well. Let me quickly introduce my partner on the show. It's going to start the show, and hopefully we end the show together this lovely Thursday evening. Bolu Omoni, it's good to have you join me on the show. Bolu, it's been a while, but I'm very happy to have you here.
Yeah, it's good to be back here. You know, incidentally, a friend of mine mentioned it on Sunday that it's been a while, so I said, well, very soon.
Very soon.
And well, the soon is very
As
soon.
God will have it.
Yeah, it's good to be here again.
All right. So let's talk about, before we talk about the big one, let's talk about what the sports ministry has been talking about. We know there's a lot of renovation work going on at the Lagos Stadium and the Abuja Stadium. We've been given a time frame of when it's going to open and all that. But what we're hearing from the sports ministry is that there are plans to reopen the Abuja Stadium and the Lagos Stadium, the Abuja Stadium, now known as the MKO Abiola Stadium, and the Lagos Stadium on November 9. And I think it's good. If you've been to Lagos, I mean, it doesn't look the same anymore.
I thought, I think one thing the sport ministry has been doing is to be consistent in almost everything they are saying. Remember the battle of having fans for the Sierra Leone game? They said no. So
we're going to talk about later.
A step at a time, and I like that they are following through. One of the things they said that was, okay, we'll open some places, but for the main bowl itself, no matter what we say, football is more like the major sports in Nigeria.
Yes.
And you know, when football is open to all, believe me, everywhere will be flooded, the stadiums and everything. So I think that's one of the reasons why let's still leave the main bowl for now. And remember, everything is still under renovation. So, but for majorly non-contact sports, everyone can just open it up, let people start coming in and enjoy themselves. But at the same time, we still have to be very, very cautious.
Yeah, we have to be. I mean, in other parts of the world, they're entering into a second lockdown, second wave. We've been lucky in the spots. That is not to say that we've not done the right things.
Yeah, sure.
But you could also say that we're lucky because in some other places now
It could have been bad, yeah.
It could have been bad, and in some other places it's total lockdown. Yeah, I think in the UK they're going to be on lockdown till.
I think it's even started already.
Yeah,
and I remember the first wave I had an interview on a show with some of Super Eagles players, and those in Spain, what they were saying, even as South Australia, I said, where are you even going? The only time you're allowed to step out is just go to the supermarket or pharmacy, and it's specific times, not that you can stroll anyhow you want and come back. Like you rightly said, I think we've been lucky, and well, no matter what you say, you can say God has been fortunate enough with us, but we've been very, very lucky, and we have to continue the right things we are doing.
So you agree with opening it in phases, not throwing caution to the wind, and that looks like the approach of the sports ministry.
Yeah, that's exactly what we are seeing, just a step at a time. Believe me, when football is open, when football is okay, everyone. Even during the lockdown, some persons still find their way to viewing center to watch football matches. So imagine now everything is free and fair. You can go to stadiums to play football. Believe me, everywhere will be full. So I think it's a good approach.
Even when you tell them that let's keep social distance, they'll tell you they've heard.
We've heard, but when you start seeing the numbers, the way security is in Nigeria in terms of stadiums and all, it's very poor. Sometimes I tell people when I go to Agege Stadium, you see maybe just 20 policemen, and out of that 20, about 15 are with the players. So how will maybe 5 or 10 policemen control the entire crowd? So I think it's a very good approach. Let's take a step at a time. How many basketball fans do we have? How many tennis fans do we have? So they can still control themselves to a level. Then over time, I believe every sport will be open.
All right, all right. So that's it. Hopefully we'll see, just like you said, some parts of the main bowl in those two stadiums still under construction. And I think it's only reasonable that we keep it the way it is for now. Okay, all right. So, Bolu, let's talk about handball. Handball has become the first sport to return, since the lockdown restrictions on contact sports has been removed. And we've been doing our best on this show to monitor what's been happening in Abuja, talking about the Handball Premier League. So let's just start with what happened today. Let's take a look at some of the results, and very interesting results, I must tell you. So let's just see. It's going to come up on your screen shortly. And we talk about Canopilas and Safety Babes stay top after wins. Today happens to be match day 6. So after wins in their respective categories, they stay on top, and that's good to hear. But let me run through the results, then I'll take your thoughts. You probably have been seeing some of the clips, and you've been reading some stories, because I know you're not in Abuja. For you to be here with me, you're not in Abuja. So, but let me read the results. Canopilas defeated Plateau Vipers 34 points to 21. You have Rima Strikers lost to Lagos Seasiders 28 points to 29. Shifufami Staff Shooters also defeated the Defenders 37 points to 31. All of these are match day 6 results for the guys. Let's talk about the ladies. There you have it. Better Queens losing to Imo Grasshoppers. Imo Grasshoppers solid side. Kada Queens losing to Safety Babes 20 points to 25. Then the Defender Babes also losing to Plateau Peacocks. That's 15 points to 18. All right, let's look at what's going to happen tomorrow. That's on match day 7. Let's see what's going to happen. That's tomorrow, Friday. Lagos Seasiders will take on Delta Force. Safety Shooters will take on Shifufami Staff Shooters. Canopilas take on Kada Stars. Plateau Vipers take on Borno Spiders. Rima Strikers up against Niger United. Confluence Stars will take on the Defenders. Bulu, all of this for the guys. For the ladies, Desert Queens up against Defender Babes. Plateau Peacocks up against Kada Queens. Benue Queens up against Edo Dynamos. Seasider Babes up against Imo Grasshoppers. Safety Babes up against Adorable Angels. Angels and Queens. Angels and Queens. We have Grasshopper in there, but Angels and Queens dominating. But your thoughts, you've seen the pictures. I don't know about you, but I'm happy that, just when the PTF said, okay, you guys can start now without the fans, these guys just came out and they're already following all the COVID-19 protocols, and the game's going on in full effect.
Well, first of all, I think it's important to commend the Handball Federation. Before they were given the go-ahead, they've been having some plans. One of the things I say everywhere is, while the lockdown was on, I use the NBA as example. They said something that while they are in lockdown, they'll start planning to make the NBA better.
Yeah.
I bring it back to Nigeria, the LMC. I said, if after all this and we come back,
and we're still having the same problems,
then that means we've learned nothing. We're still where we are. And that's one thing the Handball Federation did all through the break. And nobody knew what they were planning. Immediately they were given the go-ahead, you can start. They kickstarted, and I love their PR. Since they are the only ones now, they are leveraging on that opportunity that, well, no one is here. I received tweets, I received tags for their transfer for coaches. Will this coach be enough to do well? Look at the chief of army staff winning games with ease. Now I think they have 10 points in their first few games. I think it's interesting the way they are going. Believe me, if they are the only ones, because there are a few reports that we may not even have the MPFL this year. I doubt we will have the MPFL this year. If the Handball League becomes the only league that's going on for now, you won't be surprised. They may even have many followers. Since that's what we can see. People are, okay, let me just follow. Like now, I can decide, what's the result for today? Tomorrow, what's the result? Over time, I'll start getting interest. And you never can tell when they open the fans to join in, and you just start seeing people. These are the people I feel can do maybe gate fee for free for now because they don't have fans, not the Super Eagles. But I think I like what they're doing. They're playing their games, no stopping, like you rightly said, following all the necessary protocols. One thing football are also missing is You are not testing once and abandoning test. No. It has to be something continuous. And that's exactly what the Handball Federation are doing. So I think it's a good one for them. One team that's been doing well, surprising, is the COAS, or the Chief of Army Staff. You can feel like, what do they know about football, about handball? But yeah, they are proving us right. And another thing is, it shows another part that you can be a military man and still enjoy doing sports.
Sure.
We've seen it in football. We've seen the likes of Miriam Yale. So I think I love it this way. Let it continue. Let LMC, let MPFA, let NFF and all of them, let them learn from this. Because they are following the right process. The league is ongoing. No fans, no chaos. And for now, there are no issues of owing money or anything. So I'm loving what the Handball Federation are doing.
A lot of positives. And I don't want to look as if you're singing their praises, but you know, I grew up to know this thing that my dad used to say about a good product selling itself. Definitely. And that's what we have here. I mean, what we're saying is what is out there, is what's the news. You're not trying to sugarcoat anything.
You're saying there's a league in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Presently, handball.
Any competition going on, handball. Any sports event, following all the necessary protocols, it's handball. So that's why we have all of that, and it's good. But I'm going to go back to handball, but I want to ask you something. There were, mixed feelings. We knew at some point the restrictions were going to be lifted, but what on the streets, there was some apprehension in various quarters that, look, can we handle the unique challenges that COVID-19 presents? A lot of people say, oh, yeah, we can handle it. Some say, I don't think we can handle it. And, as somebody who belongs to this profession, who I know has a neutral perspective, do you think we can handle? Because it's just handball now. We expect football, we expect basketball, we expect... So if all of them start, can we handle it?
The first thing is, other sports, interestingly, they always have a way around it. Where the major challenge is with football. Yeah. Because, for example, the licensing rule. There are many things written down in the licensing rule. Security, finance, you must have about 200 million in your account for safety, transfer details. All those are not even followed yet. Then health is one thing. And people are mixing it up that the health inside the licensing is the same thing as coronavirus preventives. It's not the same thing. The health has been there forever. Now they want to implement, but the coronavirus or COVID-19 precaution, it's something different entirely. Like I said earlier, I think 2 clubs did testing. I said, we've done our test. No. Zlatan said, I tested negative yesterday and positive today. Ronaldo, before a game, was negative, after the game, positive. So it has to be something continuous. And remember, we have 20 clubs in the first division alone. Lower divisions are there, the NNL, the NLO are still there. So I think we just have to be careful. Let's go a step at a time. Others may be able to, because they don't have 11 players playing at the same time. For football, you probably need about 30 players. That's plus those in reserve, adding managers to it, the entire coaching
all mixing
crew,
with each other,
adding match officials, everyone. So for football, we have more than enough numbers to test. But for others, some sports, you may not test more than maybe 15, 20 per club. So it's hard. It's possible. But it's very, Nigerians, we are very unique. Very, very unique. So for me, I think it's just better that we have the non-contact sports active. For contact sport, let's just take it a step at a time. But for football, I stand with what the sport ministry said from the beginning. If we don't follow through all the licensing rules, we should not start. Now, I'm not even talking about the COVID-19 preventives.
Let's even start with that
the
first.
licensing first. Let's sort everything out. When that is sure, I've said it over time, if you have just 10 clubs,
doesn't matter.
That will follow through. In how many clubs do they have in Scotland? Interestingly, in Scotland, the team that finished 7th can have more points than the team that finished 6th because of how it is played. But they are following whatever they have. They are following every possible rule they have. So let's take everything a step at a time. If football is not ready, let's enjoy sport. Maybe it's high time we, as Nigerians, start enjoying other sports. We've talked about handball. Maybe when the basketball started, remember basketball said they signed a deal for their 2 divisions. It means very soon basketball will start. Wrestlers, they are preparing to go to the World Tournament. We may have interest in that. Maybe it's time for Nigerians to enjoy many sports. Remember the Olympics. We won't be seeing football. Yeah. So let's get used to these other sports and their names. So
from where you stand, we could handle it. If football is not in the picture,
I think so.
you feel we can deal with whatever comes our way. Because a lot of people feel the unique challenges that COVID-19 presents, because contact sports, you're gonna mix and all that. A lot of people feel we can't handle it. I'm not allowed to say what my opinion is. I'll leave it at that. But a lot of people, and since you've put out your opinion out there, so we'll see. But I feel if the amount of maybe the effort that this Handball Federation have put into it, if we have other federations do
taking the cue from them,
at least on that level,
humility, come down to them, ask questions. What are you doing right?
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong in asking to know. But sometimes, like I said here, where what are they doing? What do they think that we can do better? If you are thinking about competing with each other, that's the first challenge we have. But if you can, all these federation presidents know each other. Ask, guy, how is this thing working for you guys? Share your experience and let's see what happens. But again, football is completely different from others. More than enough players, officials, staff, referees, and everything. So for football, like I said, let's focus on licensing first. Then we'll move on
this program is not a health program, but I'm tempted to ask you again. A lot of people have talked about the fatigue. Those who really don't want to see everything in full swing say people might promise you that we're going to do all of these things. They do it one time, do it second. Just like what you're alluding to in football, a club tests all the players. Say, oh yeah, we are done.
And they keep releasing the same results.
We're done. We're done. I said that fatigue will set in, and like some will ignorantly say we don't really have it in the spots. Then you begin to endanger. Health and safety comes first before sports. We love sports. We want to see everything back.
But is more important,
yeah, sure. I agree.
That's why I feel the PTF need to work. When anyone or any league, any federation will start, I think the PTF have to work with them hand in hand. Not that they would give you results. No, you have to be there. If they're testing, you have to monitor everything, because we love to see these sports. They can be like I say, okay, yeah, we've done it once or twice. Just keep releasing same result and changing. And also, I think the PTF themselves, they can't relent. Even if you are sure coronavirus is gone for now, they still have to be active, monitor what everyone is doing, and be sure the results they are releasing is the exact results. And I think that way we can move forward.
All right. Since I've got that out of the way, let's go back to the handball. And let me ask you, with what you have seen, I'm putting you on the spot. I know it's not good, but I will do it. In the men's and the women's category, after 6 set of matches, which teams have impressed you, and which teams are you thinking, I think this one will go all the way?
Well, for the men, I think it should be Kano Pillars and the Chief of Army Staff. Although Kano Pillars, they are a compound name in almost every sport in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And I like them. They don't change the name.
Yeah, solid sports team.
For them and for Chief of Army Staff, I didn't rate them that much because, like I told you earlier, I was seeing some tags on Twitter that who are these people? Oh, handball. Okay, let me just read one or two things.
Yeah.
So, but I think they've surprised me so far. In their first 5 or 6 games, they won about 3 of them. So I think it's interesting, both of them. But for the women, in almost every female sports, they are side by side, except our women league. In football, we know there's Rivers and the rest. But I think for the women, I can probably go for the Safety Babes and the Kada Queens for now. Kada Queens, yes, they lost their last match, but I think they, to a level, can do well so far. But for the men, Kano Pillars and the Chief of Army Staff Shooters.
Okay, all right. So that's a wrap on handball. We've covered all the grounds, and Bolu has told you the themes that he thinks will do well. Before we go on a break, let me just quickly throw this one in. A lot of federations have said, look, 2020 is gone. Let's just start looking at 2021. Do you still see some of these federations, now that the restrictions have been lifted, do you still see some of these federations still being able to use November and December to do any of their programs?
Well, it's very possible. It's one of the things we said. When we were locked down,
we're preparing.
If there were plans. I like what LMC came up with, that hopefully by September, October then. But the question is, did they prepare for that period? So for other federations, if you were sitting down to whenever they give us,
let's start.
There's nothing wrong if you planned September. If you didn't work, move ahead. Okay, let's see November. And you have your plans in place. If those plans are not in place, yes, it's time to start sports. You now start thinking, no, that's emergency. But there's nothing wrong with, you can never fail to plan. If you are planning, no matter what happens, your plan, if your plan doesn't work, it's still not a failure. You can move it elsewhere. So if there's a federation that's been working on, look at wrestling, for example. The tournament will be in November. Now, if they've not been planning, believe me, to just
they would have at least represent Nigeria.
How do we do this? So I believe any federation that's been working on, whenever we resume, let's just kickstart. Whenever it happens, let's keep
next 2 months.
Even if it's just work on December, use November to prepare, use November to plan, raise money. Money is very important. I know some federations have been talking about money being broke and all, but you have to work on something for now. So you have few more days in November, a few more weeks, like 3 weeks left in November. Plan ahead. And interestingly, it's in this part of the world that Christmas periods are used for holidays alone. Abroad in the Premier League, they play lots of games on Christmas Day and
loads.
It's a holiday period. People take their children to stadiums and everything. So I'm not saying we should play here Christmas Day. Many will probably not go, but at least make use of December.
Okay.
Now that everyone can do every sport, plan very well in December. Let's enjoy our sports.
Okay. If you're just joining us, well, you missed quite a bit, but of course we talked about the Handball Premier League. We talked about the plans to open the Abuja and Lagos stadiums, not in full capacity. The main bowl, some renovations still going on, but some of the courts used for games like volleyball, basketball, some of those ones will be open. And so those are the things we've looked at already. In this segment, we want to talk about the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Not the players exactly, but the venue that will be used for that game. And Bolu Omoni is still with me. Bolu, you already alluded to it, and I try to pause you a little, but you already said, you know, some of the things we want to talk about. You know, there were some, we thought there was going to be some sort of collision cause when we knew the PTF said contact sport can start without the fans. Yeah. Then we heard the NFF president say, oh, you know, we want to see some fans. We're reading in newspapers, gates to be thrown open, and we were wondering, what's going on here? What's going on here? But some clarity has been brought into all of this now. You know, we now know that no fans will be allowed. You know, Samuel Ogbomudia Stadium is 15,000 capacity. Some were suggesting that, okay, maybe a third. Maybe it just allow, like, say, 5,000. They can thoroughly, people can be spaced out and say, if we do that, maybe there won't be any problem. But what we hear is that the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 and the Ministry of Sports have advised the state government and the Nigerian Football Federation against breaching COVID-19 protocols by allowing fans for the game. The PTF insists if fans will be allowed, testing must be conducted on all of them prior to the game. And to me, this is sensible. This is a sensible approach. You know, a lot of people were already saying, well, they were doing political rallies. So I didn't buy that argument. But now, I like the fact that the PTF and the Sports Ministry have come out and said this. I guess that's the final nail.
Well, I think the first problem started when the governor said the gates will be thrown up. That was the first major challenge. And like you said, they are linking it to, well, there were political rallies, there was protests, there was this. It's not the same thing. Because some things went wrong, doesn't mean we should continue going wrong. Yeah. Then the NFL president, like I said, came up with, we can have 50%. Believe me, in Nigeria, if we decide to throw a gate open, and 50% will be allowed, the people outside will be more than those inside. Yeah. I remember the under-17...
You're not even going to have that 50. It's going to be more than that.
Much more. We had the under-17 that was hosted in Nigeria, I think, in 2009. That one, they had tickets. The tickets that were sold were more than those, the capacity of the stadium. So I was at some of the games at FC Balogun in Lagos, and I said to myself, the crowd outside...
It's more than the ones inside.
Much more than those inside. Then now, imagine a free ticket. Look at Super Eagles games in Oyo. Friends that saw those games there would tell you there were more than enough people outside wanting to barge their way in. And you are talking about, I like the concept that if you can test everyone. Now, you know, in Nigeria here, when we do tests, we don't get the test until about a few days, sometimes a week. So if you have to start...
If you can go through all of that,
then why not? And the interesting thing is not that you are selling tickets. If you are selling tickets, I'll say, okay, maybe they want to raise money. This thing is free. Then what do you need fans that will come and watch for free and put everybody at risk? I like what the PTF and then Sport Ministry are standing for. We don't need these guys play for their club side without fans. So why do we want to make sure there are fans there? It's sad, actually, and I love the stand. No fans. Let's enjoy our games. A friend of mine kept telling me, no matter who we set up against Sierra Leone, we should win. Fans or without fans, we should win the game. So let us just enjoy. I hope we won't come back with apology of, why can't we? Oh, no. I even like what they released. That, okay, even in the list, there are no talks of journalists there. I'm sure media team will be there, cover. So the NFF will definitely have their media team. Same with Super Eagles. If you need pictures, they will send pictures to you. We are all trying to be careful.
Safety first.
Because we know even journalists, when they are allowed, journalists hang out with players a lot. In their, on the field, even in their hotels. That's where trouble starts. So for now,
Stay
I know
away.
some
Just
of us
stay
have friends with players, but for now,
Just
talk
stay
to your
away.
friends on phone or social. Just stay away for now. We have more than enough time to enjoy ourselves.
Yeah. There's going to be enough for football.
Enough.
But if someone is dead, that's the end. You know. So I agree with you, but let's just move on. Let's talk about Sierra Leone. They're not playing. They've invited 16 foreign-based players for this game, and I like what you've said, and I like your optimism. But the Sierra Leoneans don't think it should be like that. They think it's a football game, and since it's a football game, we can spring a surprise. 16 professional players invited. Let's go through that list. Hopefully, at some point, we'll be joined by a journalist someone based in Sierra Leone. Give us some perspective to that. That's what you have on screen, the name of the players and the clubs they play for. So if you want to brag about our team made up of foreign-based players, maybe Sierra Leone can also tell you that we have 16.
I don't even know some of the name of the clubs.
Okay. I don't know as well, but let me see. Osman Keke, Queen's Park Rangers in England. Mustafa Dumbuya. You have Ali Sese, Kwame Queen, Mohamed Meadow, Kelvin Wright. The clubs they play for are right there on screen. George Davis. You have Mohamed Toure, plays for Abe Fortune in China. Mustafa Bundu, he plays for Anderlecht in Belgium. Alhaji Kamara plays in Denmark. You have Augustine Williams. He plays in the MLS for LA Galaxy. You have Alassane Koroma, plays for a club in Spain. And you have K. Kamara, probably the most popular Sierra Leonean player. Plays for Minnesota in the United States. Rodney Stracer plays in Finland. And John Kamara plays in Azerbaijan. A lot of funny places in that. But they're professionals. That's what I want to underline. That's what I want to underline. But look, we can smile, we can, we can make some caustic comments, but the truth of the matter is they're taking this game seriously.
It's 11 against 11. I can't remember the last time South Africa, I'm not even sure they ever defeated Nigeria in recent time in a competitive match until they came to Nigeria and defeated us 2-0. So no matter what you say in football, we've seen, look at them, Istanbul, Besiktas, the first champions to defeat United. So what happens on the field of play is very important. But for me, like I said, for the last two friendly matches, one thing I'm particular about, winning is key.
Yeah.
No matter what you say, but I want to see how the team will play.
Yeah.
I need to come off, probably I go outside, I didn't see the lineup, and I come in and I see the formation. I see a pattern of play. That's one of my major focus. But the difference between the last two friendly games and this time around, it's a competition. It means no matter the pattern you play, the most important thing is win. I tell people I love Pep Guardiola's beautiful style of play, but the only way to play football is to win.
Yeah.
If you play a beautiful style and you're not winning, and I play rugged and I win, they respect me more than they respect.
Yeah.
So we would love to win those games. A friend will say, even if we take MPFA players that have not trained for almost a year, they should be Sierra Leone.
They should.
But I want to see how the team would play. As much as we criticize Thomas Deneby, it's Falcons still, we know they go for long balls. Send the ball or Shala will chase the ball. At least we could see how they play.
A recognizable pattern.
Exactly. So I want to see this thing. Check out all those top countries in the world. You can say this is how they play. Check out their underage team, 23, and so you can see the pattern of play. And the truth is, if it's not working for the senior team, it can't work for all the cadet teams. So I want to see how we'll play. I want to be able to say, Alex, when we move from here to here, this is his assignments on the field, probably running down the left. I want to see what Joe Aribo will do. Not, guys, just go play.
Just go and play.
Score, win. Yes, we'll be happy if we win. But I'm sure deep down, those that really understand football will still say the same thing. What is our style of play?
All right. I'm trying to restrain myself. Is this going to be a classic David Goliath, or you're those who say, look, there are no minnows in football anymore?
Well, no matter what you say, they are in football. But at the same time, stranger things have happened. I remember I never heard of the Club Recreativo until Fabio Cannavaro won the world best player. His next game for Real Madrid was against a certain Recreativo. And a certain Ikechukwu scored 2 against Madrid. They defeated Madrid 3-0. So we've seen stranger things happen in football. But at the same time, you can easily say for punters, this team is a senior team. That's what Nigeria is. If you check odds for punters in that game, you won't be surprised. Maybe Sierra Leone will have like 7 and 1.2 for Nigeria. But if we go into the game with that mindset of, nothing, these guys will walk past them. we may be very sorry at the end of the day. And this is a qualifier. Yes, you can say at the end we need 2 teams, but rules changed while competition started last qualifier, so you never can tell. So I want us to go to this game as we are playing a team of 11 players with 16 foreign-based. We are not the only ones bragging about foreign-based players. They also have foreign-based players amongst them, but we should be able to defeat Sierra Leone no matter who we play. It is the Super Eagles of Nigeria, or let me call it like something. It is the Super Eagles of Nigeria against Sierra Leone. I think we should win, but we can't just underrate them. No, we cannot. If we do that, it will probably be at our own peril. We respect them. We love that they are a footballing nation. We honor them for qualifying, but we should still beat them.
All right. Okay. It's a double-header. 6 points on the table. How much of those points do you think Nigeria should be taking?
People have said we should take all points in this group. It's so funny that some people say we shouldn't consider any goal in this group. But for these 2 games, I think 4 points is enough. Like they'll say in competitions, if you win all the games in your house, and maybe try not to lose away from home, win or draw, it's a good result for anyone. So even if we don't win in their backyard, at least here in Nigeria, in Asaba, in Benin, we should be able to pick all 3 points. 1-0 may be small, but it is better than nothing. So I think we should win here. If we go to Sierra Leone and pick up a point, or if possible, beat them, good ups, positive, but we should defeat. Again, we must defeat them in Nigeria. Because I'm sure some people have their draft already if the Nigeria should lose that game. First, General, second, some players, but in Benin here, we should beat them comfortably. We shouldn't stress here in Nigeria.
Okay, so that's it. Talking about that game, Nigeria against Sierra Leone, and you know, my friend in the studio says we should be getting 6 points, and I do agree with him. But you know, then again, he also said stranger things have happened in football, so we should and must be cautious. Still talking about the Super Eagles, you know, it's been a while that the list was released, and some people say, looked at the list and said, how come you have this number of defenders? And I mean, they were trying to look at the rationale. I mean, if you had Cameroon, Ghana, and all those kind of teams, okay, look at the opponents you're playing, and you're having this, you know. So you think that, talking about personnel now, that with the players we have, it's going to be enough to get a convincing win, even though we've already said we should be beating them. But the personnel, I still have my issues about, especially midfield, you know. Some will also tell you, well, those forwards, some of them are actually midfielders. But I don't know if you buy all of those.
Well, first of all, I'm not sure there's any other manager or coach or technical advisor, whichever grammar you want to use in the world, that goes to a tournament or any call-up with 3, 4, 5 midfielders. I'm not sure there's any, except General. Remember at the AFCON, we suffered the same thing, that in the and the table had to play all games. Even when everyone rested, they could not rest because they were the only natural midfielders there. The last friendly games we had just...
And the formation demanded that they play, because it plays 3 in the middle.
The last friendly, I think we had 4 or 5 natural midfielders, 2 pulled out with injury. Defenders were used to replace them. This time around, we have just 3. In the list, you will see 4. But Aaron Eboye is a defender, not a defender. Yeah. So we had just 3. And when someone pulled out, we thought maybe Ramon Aziz would get to replace. He still didn't replace us. So General knows the style. He knows the formation he wants to play. So sometimes I don't support too much criticism sometimes. But when you are hitting at him, let us know this is why. For example, a friend has said, you have a problem with Maduka. I said, I had lots of problem with him. You should use your club form to get to national team, not your national team form to get to your club. When Maduka was fortunate to set up Team B in the 4th division in Germany, he doesn't even start all the time. He moved to Sparta Rotterdam. He doesn't start for that club. Then we are giving easy access to the national team. Yes, we've seen lots of media and some people trying to PR and everything. But the truth is, we should have a goalkeeper that keeps regularly for his... We should have...
Whose club performance justifies
exactly the call-up, not because some journalists say, this is my guy, or because of PR or anything. Look at now, goalkeepers concede goals. Any day, anytime. Even the best goal, Brazil conceded 7 at the World Cup in their backyard. But when Okoye now conceded 4 in his first start in the league, people were hitting at him. And I said, it is not that bad, but I understand why. Because people were saying the likes of is the best, is the greatest. And now that he conceded, they were hitting at him. So we should have players hitting their form for their club before getting to the national team. I support a call. I remember there was a time Javi Martinez was the best defensive midfielder for Spain. There was a time it was Beniat. But the coach had his core.
All right.
So those guys were just part of the squad. I
All right.
understand that, but we should have a core. Not anybody that wants to play should come out. That's the main challenge that I have with the team.
All right. Okay, we'll talk about the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Let's try and see if we can get some Sierra Leonean perspective into all of this. Ibrahim Kamara joins us now. He's the head of media and marketing of the Sierra Leone FA. Ibrahim, it's good to have you join us on the show tonight.
Thank you very much, and God bless you. I've been following the conversation, and it's been very much interesting from your side, really.
Okay. Forgive us if we sound partisan. We're Nigerians, so.
No, don't worry. This is football. We're all on the same.
All right. So, from your hand, Nigerians are recklessly optimistic. A lot of Nigerians think we should be getting 6 points. But from a Sierra Leone perspective, I mean, what do you think your team will bring to the table? Are you looking at getting some points off Nigeria, or you just take whatever scoreline that comes?
Well, okay, first of all, let me start by establishing the fact that, we're going into the Nigerian match, as a people, we're quite aware, of the fact that Nigeria is definitely one of the biggest nations in Africa when it comes to football. And I mean, we know, we've been following Nigeria very closely. It will interest you to know that there are Sierra Leoneans who are actually fans of Super Eagles, especially when it comes to the African Cup of Nations. I mean, given the fact that Sierra Leone has been absent, for the past decade now. We've not really qualified for the African Cup of Nations. So, people from this side really root, massively for Nigeria when it comes to the African Cup of Nations. But that notwithstanding, this is Sierra Leone going up against Super Eagles. So we're actually looking forward to getting the points. That's the honest truth. This is football. Anything can happen. We know Nigeria is a very strong side, and we've also got a few players that are doing extremely well outside Sierra Leone, and we also have a few home-based players that we think really we can put together, to stand really tall up against Nigeria, especially in a match, that we're going to play in Nigeria. That is a match on the 13th. So we're looking forward to get the points, really. At least a draw away. And when we come back home in Sierra Leone, definitely we're going to get a win.
Okay. Let's talk about the one in Nigeria. The absence of the fans. Yeah. Who's going to benefit more, from the absence of the fans? Or you think it doesn't really matter?
Well, I think we are going to benefit more, because we all know how passionate the Nigerian fans are, and we all know how Nigerians do love football, especially when it comes to Super Eagles. No matter what, the performance of Super Eagles may be lately, in international competitions or what have you, because obviously we all know during the days of JJ Okocha, the days of Nwankwo Kanu, the level at which Super Eagles was, it's never at that level again, and I'm sure you will agree with me, basically. So yes, basically, with the absence of the fans, I think it's going to benefit us a lot, because we're going to actually, see ourselves like, okay, we're playing on a very neutral ground, no fans to shout at, us, no fans to cheer for the Super Eagles and things like that. So it's basically a level playing ground. It's a matter of, who's got it better, basically, in terms of, showcasing what you have, and things like that. So I think, yes, we're going to actually capitalize on that and see what we're going to do on that day.
You've talked about the absence of fans probably going to be of advantage to Sierra Leone. Well, you know your players more than we do. I've looked at the professional players that have been invited. I think I recognize just probably one of them. But I know you might not want to answer this, but which players do you think we should look forward to seeing? Which players do you think could cause us problems? You're not the coach, so you're not revealing any secret, but which players do you think Nigerians should look out for that we might likely see a lot from?
Okay, the thing about Leon Stars is that we're full of surprise packages. In the sense that we've got we've got a few players that are actually young. Young in a sense, they're just coming into the team basically, but I can tell you they're really, really strong in terms of their mental fortitude, in terms of their character on the pitch. You know, I mean, they've got a lot of skills, really. You know, I mean, you're very right that, you know, we do not have these players that you can actually say, okay, Sierra Leone, they've got a player over there, they've got another player there that is actually, you know, doing well and things like that, you know, making a name all over the world. You know, unlike Nigeria, obviously, I mean, you guys do have a lot of players that all over the world, you know, people, you know, do know about. That cannot be said about Leon Stars. But what I can tell you for sure is that we've got a team. We may not have the individual players, but we've got a team of highly determined players. Really, one player that I can actually tell you, this may be the player that you already know about. You know, Kai Kamara, you know, who plays in America. Obviously, he's been doing a lot as we speak now in the USA League. He's the third highest goal scorer, you know, in the history of the Major League Soccer. Basically, he's actually quite a fierce goal puncher, I must say. But besides him, we've got a lot of other players. Actually, some are playing in China, some others in a few other countries that are not actually well known in terms of football in the world. We've not got players actually that are playing in England, if you like, Spain or Germany. You know, you've got all of those kinds of players. But what we have, really, like I said earlier on, is a team. And I think in football, that is very, very much important. You may have the individual players, but teamwork is really key. I'm not saying you haven't got that. You know, I can only tell you about, you know, what I know about my team, basically. So I think that is one thing that we're actually going to make a very good use of. You understand, the fact that we're together, the fact that we play as a team, and the fact that the boys are also determined. And we all know, I mean, we're going with the perception that we're going to go up against one of the biggest nations, not just in Africa, in the world. We all know actually what Super Eagles, you know, have done as a team, basically, in the world in terms of football. We all know how far Nigeria has gone. We are yet to be there. I mean, since the inception of football, we've only been to the African Cup of Nations twice, you know, in 1994 and in 1996. Since then, we've not been fortunate. We've not been lucky enough to qualify for the African Cup of Nations. But I tell you something, it's going to be quite an interesting match on the 14th in Nigeria, and obviously on the 17th. The thing is, we hardly lose a match, you know, at our own stadium. You know, it's really difficult, especially when we have the fans. Unfortunately, our fans are not going to be around though. But you know, the boys, I mean, are more confident playing at the Sierra Stevens Stadium, which is our own stadium here. But let us see what happens. Really, we're going to actually surprise you. You know, okay. I mean, the surprise. No, it is true. I cannot really tell you that look out for this, look out for this, look out for that. The point basically that I'm trying to make is that every player is an outstanding player for our own team. You know, right. we can get the most prolific goal scorer from the least expected player. Basically, that's the point that I'm trying to make. All right. You know, so everybody can just pop up and do the magic for us, you know.
All right. Ibrahim Kamara, I want to thank you for your time on the show. And after the double header, we're going to have this conversation again, whatever happens.
I'll be in Nigeria. Sorry to cut you. Okay. I'll be in Nigeria for the match. Okay. Maybe when I come there, I'll be on your show live. Yes.
All right. Okay. We'll see what we can do. All right. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for gracing us with your presence on the show. A very optimistic Sierra Leonean, and I mean, you would expect him to.
Yeah, definitely. He has to praise the team. And they said one thing that's key, that everyone, at least if nobody know Kai Kamara, and someone that has over 160 career goals, it means he's doing something right. But again, sometimes teamwork can be better, much better than individual brilliance. So if we go into the game, or like I said, like Sierra Leone, they can probably pose a huge surprise for us. But again, Sierra Leone, Sierra Leone.
Okay, all right. You know what? Let's quickly talk about Diego Maradona before we take a look at the Europa League. And let's talk mighty scare a few days ago when we heard that Maradona had to go for a brain surgery. The doctors quickly ruled out, oh, well, he doesn't have COVID, he doesn't have stroke, but mighty scare. Now we are hearing that he's recovering. The doctors said the operation went well, and a lot of people, I mean, get well messages all of us, even as high as Colombia president, you know. Maradona is well loved by a lot of people, but it just shows that this guy is a global icon, and I think he's just 60. We don't need to lose him right now.
First off, there are many stories from his media team and general media. He was rushed emergency, this and that, but the most important thing, like you said, is well now. The last report that he's speaking with them, and we've lost some football icons in recent, so I think we still want Maradona around there.
For a while.
At least his battle with Pele is always interesting.
Very, very.
Playing days off where he's jobless, is this and so I think I love the battle, and it's very important that we have him now. Hopefully, he'll get out of the hospital faster and start talking again. I'm sure, I can't wait till maybe when he's out, they can just give him the ball to juggle, maybe one or two things to show that this man is really back. So, again, from me, he should get well soon.
All right, so, and you can see a lot of the fans of the club that he currently handles, Gymnasia, all of them keeping vigil at the hospital, and a lot of farewell messages. All right, so that's the update on Diego Maradona. As we prepare to leave the studio, let's really talk about the Europa League. And Bolu, we also try to select the ones that involve Nigerians, but let's talk about the ones that have ended. Let's talk about those ones first. Roma defeated CFR Cluj, and Benfica and Rangers played a 2-2 draw in that game. 3-3 draw in that game. Leon Balogun was not used. Aribo played, got substituted. I think Nicolas Otamendi got a red card in that game. Okay, these are the results. Napoli won their game, and you reminded me that Osimhen got a red card in the last, so he didn't play. But I'm told we have to leave the studio. But quickly, your thoughts on this game?
The game that surprised me was the Benfica Rangers game. Otamendi got sent off earlier. Rangers led 3-1. And last 10 minutes or thereabout, Benfica got the goal. Slip. Then after for the game, Arsenal scored the lead goal to equalize before halftime. Interestingly, Milan are losing at home. To a Lille, but I think they later got a goal or something that was struck. But Europa League, there are always too many games, and you
24
have to look
matches.
at the games to pick 24 games. I think when they join, everyone joins together from quarterfinals. It's always interesting to go, but it's better to win Europa League than to win nothing.
Okay, and a lot of Nigerian players involved. Unfortunately, we can't talk about them. Samuel Chukwueze, Olarinwaju, Kayode. I mean, a lot of them involved, but we've got to put a pause on it for now. Bolo Money, I want to thank you for your time on the show today. It's always nice having you around.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here again.
All right. Okay, so thanks for being with us today. Thanks for allowing us into your living rooms without knocking. We appreciate it and we'll never take it for granted. That's the show today. We'll be back here again tomorrow. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.